Got it.
All right, awesome.
Thanks.
So the purpose of this call, I just wanted to bring everybody together. I know we got this thing going after we had our initial results at Hutto in Texas, and we've seen some of the reps just like really take the baton and run with it here and get just a ton of presentations scheduled for myself, Charlie, Eric Whiteside, Eric Morris. I think at this point I've given close to 60 presentations from schools that have been set up by Ronnie and Heather, Dwight and Shelby, John and Sheila, and of course, Regina. And, they've all gone extremely well. I think there's one school out of the 60 that has said they're not interested right now, and they wanted to wait and see how it plays out. The other 59 have indicated that they want to do it or have already signed up to do it. We're now just in the process of sort of following up and getting them scheduled either for the fall or the following spring. Now, our plan is to do 100 schools this coming fall. I believe we could sell a whole lot more than 100 if we wanted to. We're just doing this at a very measured pace so that, we don't get out over our skis. We want to make sure that operationally we have everything dialed in. We can deliver at a high level what we promise to our schools and to our kids, most importantly. So, these are new processes. We're making sure to get everything dialed in from a technology standpoint, logistical standpoint, sales process standpoint, and so on and so forth. So, we're taking unlike the way we do things oftentimes where we rush and so on, we're really making sure that we do this and execute at an A to A+ level so that our schools are just delighted with their experience. So, we've signed up 8 schools for this spring. That's going to be our test set. We're learning a lot. We've run a couple middle schools. We did them in a couple different ways. We actually saw that not following the treasure map process seems to be the way to go for middle schools. What we do is we sort of have a group, sort of classroom by classroom, sort of team registration process. I'll spare you the details, but instead of them going home, registering online with their parents, they do so as a group in class. The way we did it was with their English teachers. So that was a lot more successful. Now, we knew middle schools were going to be tough. All right, we knew middle schools were going to be tough, but it seems as though they are viable. They're probably not going to be as successful as elementary, but they seem to be viable if we follow this alternative process. So I was really excited to see a side-by-side comparison, 2 different schools. One was viable, one, we're going to lose money on, but we're going to get a lot of books in the hands of kids in that process. So it still feels really good. And then, we've run several elementary schools. From what I can tell, and these are all early reads. I mean, these are very limited. It's a very limited sample size. From what I can tell, when you have a really organized sponsor, whether it's the librarian or anybody else, and then you have total buy-in from the principal or the assistant principal, and they really drive it, you see massively successful results. You also need to do the in-person all-staff meeting with all the teachers. For the schools that we've done that with, we've seen tremendous results. So we're just really fine-tuning the process. Even the schools that are, that we would say are like kind of underperforming or a little lower than expectations. To me, if we had started with those schools, I would say they're meeting or exceeding expectations. Traditionally, when you run campaigns like this after spring break, they fall flat. They do a fraction of what they would normally do if you did them earlier in the semester, whether it's fall or spring. So the fact that we're getting the results we are is an absolute miracle and just speaks volumes to the effectiveness and attractiveness and relevance of this program. So, if you would have told me before we started doing this test in the spring that these are the results we would see, I would have said you're probably lying. I would doubt that it would be this successful out of the gates. I don't think we'll have a single school that finishes at less than 10,000. And that's really saying something. We're working with a lot of schools with, high free and reduced lunch rates, Title I schools, et cetera. The fact that we're having these results is really tremendous. I think, we're doing probably somewhere around 5x what a Scholastic Book Fair would do on average at these schools. So it's pretty awesome. Just wanted to talk about what has been working for the reps who have been getting a lot of presentations for their schools. I'm going to summarize, and then I'm going to pass the mic to Dwight and Shelby, to Ronnie and Heather, and I'll even speak for Regina. Unfortunately, she was unable to join tonight. But, I think the three of them are really leading the pack in terms of number of presentations. Cynthia is having tremendous results. She's booked a couple schools here with the help of Eric Morris this spring. Off to a great start. So anyway, that's sort of a summary overview just to get you guys caught up with everything that we're seeing at this point. So what seems to be working is if you coordinate with whoever your Books Are Fun, call it Books Are Fun sales person is, the person doing the sales presentation. And you find out in advance, call it a week in advance, okay, what are the dates and times you're available? What are the windows that you can reserve for me to get presentations scheduled? And then you go out to your sponsors. It's got to be face-to-face. It can't just be passive where you say, hey, here are these documents, please pass these along to the librarian or pass these along to the principal. It's really got to be engaging and getting face-to-face with the librarian or getting face-to-face with the principal and just giving them a bird's eye view of the program, letting them know, this is how it works. These are the features and benefits. These are our guarantees. This is what you can count on for the program. And it's never going to cost you a dime. Are you interested in hearing more? Cool. We have these 3 spots available. Are you free at, 8:30, 9:30, or 10:30 on Wednesday, or whatever days you've worked out with with the person giving the presentation, whether it's me or Eric Whiteside or Charlie or Eric Morris. So I know that's been working really well for Dwight, for Dwight and Shelby, for Ronnie and Heather, and for Regina, and probably for others as well. So Ronnie, would you like to add anything, and then maybe pass it to Dwight for some comments, and then anybody else who's sort of had success? I'd love to hear your feedback. Love to hear the feedback you're getting from your contacts and from the librarians you're talking with.
Yeah, that's it, Ben. You hit it on the head. You go in there for your drop, you go in there for your pickup, and then you have 2 opportunities to try to find the principal, the librarian, your contact, and that's it. Trying to it's that communication. It's that, don't just drop off. We do little pamphlets, don't just drop it off in their mailbox. Get in front of them and be able to have that one-on-one communication, and that's it. You get that, and give them some times, and say, hey, can you do this? And we got Zoom meetings on Thursday at 9:30, at 10:30, at noon, and just sit back and see. And a lot of times they're like, yeah, I'm available at noon, and then you get them on there. But and in just the realm that we get to deal with, this is beautiful. I know, Ben, you were talking about it earlier, how this is something that's beautiful. It goes beyond just making money. It goes to doing something good with your life. And as a salesperson, you can be able to bring that to the table, and it's so easy. It's so simple to be able to get them to get on there. And so that's it. That's where we've had success at, is being able to get them on those Zoom meetings. And then, like Ben said, we've had no one say no yet. I mean, nobody, right? Like, no one has said no. It's we got to do follow-ups and that. But this is This is for sales. This is an easy one, guys. This is an easy one to be able to pull off.
And I want to add one more thing, or just sort of piggyback on what Ronnie just said. We had our group call. We do it every week where we just check in and sort of set our goals for the week and share our success stories and coordinate, make sure that, we're on the same page with each school and what follow-up steps we're doing. So I would recommend that you guys do that in your particular groups every week. But something that Heather said, Ronnie's better half,
No doubt.
she was just gushing about how passionate she is about this program and getting books into the hands of kids and really making a difference, and the power of that, and the power of your passion and enthusiasm, it sells this thing. You're not selling. I made the comment, I get to give these presentations. I get up at like 4:45 in the morning so that I can be ready to give these presentations early in the morning, because I'm working with people on the East Coast and I'm here in Colorado, and I love it. I get up every day excited, because I get to share this thing that we're all so passionate about. So if you can tap into that enthusiasm, that passion, it tends to be a shared passion with your librarians, with your principals. That's why they do what they do for a living. So I would just say, when you see and connect with the good this is doing for these kids, it becomes so easy to share this. You're really not selling. The reason it's such an easy sale is because you're not selling, you're sharing. And it's just really powerful. So any questions, comments, Dwight, any observations from you on this process and what's been working so well for you and Shelby?
Well, sort of, I just reiterate a lot of what is said, but early on, we just decided to target, right? We were trying to get 3 or 4 for the spring deal. So I targeted 25 of the best shots we had, and we did those. But out of that, we really discovered that the targeting, going to our contact first and then try, get into the library. And it's what you said. I mean, we have the, a little presentation there. We did print some of the material, which was great. And, got to get in front of them. I've got about a 10-minute hook presentation that I do. I want to do it face to face. Sometimes on the callback when we're trying to get to the librarian or the principal, I do it on the phone. But and again, it's sort of what you're saying there. I've got a sort of a compelling personal story about literacy. So, and I am passionate about that, and especially with the Title I schools and whatnot. We just translate that, and now we started pretty early on. It made sense to get as many people on a Zoom call as possible, just for efficiency. You're absolutely right. You got to get in front of them. And if it's not necessarily, if I've got a free day, I'm going to try to go see 5 or 6 or 7 of these folks that makes sense in an area. We had a 3-day shutdown accidentally. So we just went and did this, and you do have a high rate of success, especially if you're passionate about it, and it works. We're just trying to set up as many on the Zoom call as possible, and they respond. We've targeted about 70 schools so far, and looking to try to get 20 is our goal for fall. So it works, and you guys are just Ben's up. We're there early in the morning. I'm thinking, my goodness, how early is it out there? And he's still fired up. So that helps us, and just what's happening. So it's one that I think that especially the librarian, Shelby said early on, but you got to get the librarian behind this or it's nowhere. And so we try to get the librarian, if it's not our contact, as quickly as possible, and then just get that Zoom set up. And a lot of stuff pending out there right now, but like I say, virtually 100% of it very positive, and they're just trying to figure out how to work it in and get it sold, and then you have to go direct to the principal from there to try to get it worked. So it's just what everybody's been saying, but it does. I think it does help to target, not do a shotgun effect, and then trying to get to the decision maker. But that librarian sure drives it. I tell you, it's just the topic that they're interested in generally. So but there's all sorts of screwy angles that come up from time to time. So, but it's a learning process, and it's so far it's been sort of fun.
Yeah, well, it's been great working with you and Shelby. I feel like I got lucky there just because you guys had such an onslaught of activity that I had to cover a few things, even though you're not technically in my group. But anyway, one last thing I want to say. I know some of you guys. Really quick, Bob. Let me just.
Heather, I wanted Heather to share. They've actually booked a couple Zooms virtually, not just face to face, and she'd like to share her experience with that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's exactly where I was going to go. Go for it.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I didn't want anybody, I can't, because I'm not on video, I can't see everyone that's on the call, but there may be some of you that aren't, back in the schools and you're doing everything virtually. And I don't want you to be discouraged when we're all talking about, yes, be there face to face and hand them a, flyer or pamphlet. We originally, a month ago, just sent out a mass email to every single one of our schools, with the exception of the high schools, since it doesn't apply. But all of our elementary and middle schools, just a mass mailing. And I'm happy to share that with anybody, that wants to see what we're using, and you could personalize it to yourself. But we are still getting, interest off of that from a month ago. Some people are just now finding time to do that. But originally we sent that email out, and within the first week, we were starting to get those emails back. Hey, yeah, what is this? And we were booking Zoom meetings out off of that. So that was where we initially started. The pamphlets and handing out flyers, that came, a few weeks later. So if you are only virtual, don't think that this won't work. It may take them some time to get back to you, but sending out that email definitely sparks interest. And we had our email with our little thing about us and what we were doing and why we were doing this. And then we had the book list attached, and it was Ben, I think you had sent it out, and maybe Bob, you had sent it out, but just we put it right in the body of the email, and then also attached that so they could, send it to somebody else or print it or whatever they wanted to do. But I just want to emphasize, don't think that this won't work if you can only contact your people via email. It still can work. They are still interested. This is a really good program. You just got to get it out there.
Yeah, that's a great point. And thanks for making that point. I remember, even in that district, or in that school, I think it was in that district in maybe in Kentucky, that you guys, I think, don't even work with. And they forwarded it along, and we got, some really good presentations out of that. So yeah, it's really remarkable. I would also say for those of you who are mostly virtual, who can't get into the schools, or who have schools you can't walk into, one thing I think Regina has done really well is she has called all her contacts and sort of given them that bird's eye view, that 5 to 10 minute sort of overview of the program, and emailed them, and then followed up with an email with the information and said, hey, when can we get your librarian and your principal on a call to talk about this, to see if it's a good fit for your school. Again, that, simulating that one-on-one sort of connection with your sponsor, with your contact person, is such a powerful thing. And even if you can't get on premise, you can sort of replicate that with a phone call. So anyway, those are the things that really seem to be working. So, if you guys want to get in on the fun, this is the way to do it. I can't iterate enough. It's really fun, and it's it's really rewarding work, and it is the easiest sale ever. They can't believe it's a real program, and that we're able to do this, because it really feels almost too good to be true. So Anyway, that's really all I wanted to share. Does anybody else have anything you'd add or that you want to talk about? Any
Hey,
questions?
Ben, can I add one quick thing?
Yeah, please, Eric.
Thanks, brother. I wanted to say for Dwight and Shelby, they've now got a great success story with Tusculum, Lakeview. The success stories I'm talking about are schools that are, like you said, the Title Ones, these less affluent schools. The fact that treasure safes, the iPads that are going out, the pictures that I'm being sent from the principals with joyous faces, the responses of, you have no idea that the name that you drew that won the drawing prizes could not have been more perfect. Well, in some schools, there's a lot of perfects, and it just takes one success story like that, and the program literally sells itself. The principal would walk over hot, fiery coals to be able to let her compadres or his contemporaries know about this program. It's that good for the kids, over and above the books. The joy that they receive and that I've gotten pictures of is unbelievable. So you're going to have a blast with this. Well, that's a bad pun, but anyway, you'll have a blast with it.
Ben, Charlie here. I'd add one thing that Dwight and Shelby have done an amazing job at. And, early on, we were wondering, hey, should we just put out some times out there that we can drive some people to? And I think that works in spaces, but we do need a little bit of flexibility. And what Dwight and Shelby have been able to do is identify a time that works for this one person or these two people, and then they drive more people to that. But I would add that that doesn't always work. And we need to create more space throughout the week in odd times or not odd times. So all of you know, we have a strong supportive team here. Dwight and Shelby have seen enough of me to last them for the next year. But Ben and Eric are happy to jump in when they call and say, hey, Charlie, we have someone Wednesday at 9 a.m. Can you do it? And sometimes I'll look and be like, man, I can't. But the team, Eric and Ben are happy to jump in. So just so you all know, from a confidence standpoint, within reason, we're going to be able to get it done. And then once we find that date, drive a ton of people there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great ad, Charlie. Thanks for saying that. We really are taking this as a team approach. This is my passion. This is what I want my life's work to be. There's really such a strong correlation between availability of books and children engaging with those books and literacy rates. And then there's a direct correlation between literacy rates and the achievement gap that we have in America, which is just a horrible, horrible travesty. That in a country like ours, that there's such a difference in academic achievement between middle income students and lower income students. And it really ties back to literacy. It ties back to books. We have the opportunity to make a difference here. As Peter Parker once said, with great power comes great responsibility. We have the ability to really make a difference. And it's just so exciting. By the way, that was like a Marvel reference for all you nerds out there like me. This is just a dream come true. And, we're at the early stages of this thing, and it's just going to catch fire and take off and spread all over the country. I want to see this in 100,000 schools. We're getting it done. So I'm really excited to be doing this with you guys. Thank you for being the early adopters of this thing and helping us get it tested and refining it and just making it the best program it can be for our kids and our educators.
Hey, Ben, I was just thinking, I didn't know if Cynthia wanted to share, but when Cynthia called me and told me kind of what the results were and the excitement of the principal. You talk about that was very, very exciting for me to hear. Cynthia was super excited, obviously. So I think, if Cynthia wants to share a little bit of that for the groups, I think that would be awesome.
Okay. Well, whenever Eric had presented the Zoom call, the whole presentation and everything, it was all set up, and I was really proud of my treasure boxes, I have to say. And so whenever I got there with the prizes and everything, the principal was just so excited. I opened up the box, showed her the hats, and everything. We stood there laughing for I don't know how long. And then I brought the rest of it in and put it up. And when I turned around, I wanted to take a picture with the principal with her hat on, and she was gone. And I could hear laughter down the hallways. She was going into each individual classroom and putting on a little show for them. And the kids wanted the hat then. She didn't take the ball or the other thing, the hand thing. But it was just that the kids were so excited because she was so excited, about it. So that was really rewarding for me too.
Yeah, the power of principal buy-in.
Yeah. What's that school up to now, Cynthia, as far as
24,000 as of today.
And they kicked off, what, a week ago?
Yeah, I think they have about 3 more days, maybe. I don't know. Eric, where'd he go?
Yeah, so they're going to get, I think, one final reminder on Friday.
Yeah.
And then let them go through the weekend, and then Monday we'll shut it off. So, it should get up there. It'll probably give Eric Whiteside School a run for the high water mark. It did just over 28,000.
Oh,
So,
we got that beat. I got that beat. No.
Yeah, I think you got it. If the smart money would be on you.
The fact that we can beat Whiteside at anything would be like massive.
Ooh, there we go. That's my
Yeah,
goal.
that's true. It does not happen very often where Eric Whiteside loses at anything.
Oh, well, you don't have to tell me that.
Cynthia. This party's just getting started, so hang on tight. Hey, Ben, I did want to remind everyone, if you haven't seen the chat, I actually put my Books Are Fun background, Zoom background, out there on the chat if anyone wants to save it or download it. We are going to be having a lot of Zoom calls, obviously, so some people may want it, may not, but it's out there if anybody wants to grab it. Or email me and I can shoot it over.
You know what's hilarious about that, guys? That thing is going to be a collector's item because it was one of the rough drafts of the redone Books Are Fun logo. It's not the official logo. So
sorry about that, but it's the only one I had available right now.
No, I don't mind. Grab it. It's a collector's item. You'll never see it again.
I have a question.
Yeah. Shoot.
In the spring, in the fall, when we start having these book blasts and everything, will the book still be a 6 to 8 week wait? No? Okay.
No, like 12 to 14, probably.
Oh my God. Are you
No,
serious?
I'm kidding. No, it's
Oh, that was really Southern sounding, wasn't it?
it sure was. Yeah, it's going to be, I would guess, like, to be safe, I would say like 2 to 4 weeks, but closer to 2, okay. Maybe inside 2. Like if we had to hustle, we could probably get it out within a week of the close. We're ordering all the inventory in advance. It's going to be sitting in the warehouse, and we should be able to turn it pretty quick. The difference here was we didn't know how this was going to do, so we started getting results before we actually ordered the product.
Oh yeah.
So that's why the long sort of 6 to 8 week turnaround is what we could commit to, because once we saw the results and we were like, okay, now we need to order. And we ordered for all the schools even before we saw results, but we needed some initial results. So that's the reason, just so everybody's clear why the turnaround was so long this spring. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. And when you said that it was going to be like 100 schools in the fall, will we know when to stop for the fall?
Yes. I'm keeping very good track of it. I'm letting all of our accounts know, or all the accounts I'm interfacing with know, they've probably got based on our current booking rate, I'm guessing they've got, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks to make a commitment.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's possible. I'm not going to guarantee this because things are weird right now. We got testing. It's just the home stretch of the school year. So, getting final dates might be slower than I anticipate. But I think we have somewhere around 60 to 70 schools that have indicated they'd like to do the fall, and we're just waiting on dates from those. So the next couple of weeks, I expect those to come in based on number of presentations currently scheduled. Next 2-3 weeks, we will have presented to all the schools that are going to run in the fall, is my estimation. But let's keep selling until I say stop. And just, me, Eric, and Charlie will certainly let them know. We are only doing a handful of schools, and we need to know quick if we're going to guarantee that we're going to do them this fall. Otherwise, we'll have to bump them to the spring. But we're gonna cut it off probably around 110, just because we know certain schools will probably move their dates back to the spring or whatever. So we'll probably lock it at 110, and then expect that a few will fall off between now and when they're scheduled to run. Does that all make sense?
Yes.
Cool.
Ben, question: when you say stop selling, when you say to stop selling, but wouldn't we want to continue just to have the Zoom presentations?
Yep.
And then during that presentation, you, Eric, or Charlie could indicate that it'll be a spring launch?
Yeah, exactly. So we don't want to slow down. We don't want to promise people we'll do it in the fall when we don't have any spots left. So that's a great clarification, Jim. We're just going to keep pushing this thing from here on out. We're not going to stop until we're in 100,000 schools. So we've got a long way to go. So we're not going to stop selling. Just keep going with it. Keep setting up the presentations. We're just going to keep spreading the word. Keep signing up more schools. If we can't do them in the coming season, we'll get them locked in for the following season. And we're just going to keep outselling our supply, if that makes sense. We're going to make sure that the demand for the program is higher than our ability to meet that demand. We're going to keep things rolling like that for the first couple seasons. And then we'll probably take the training wheels off and just open it up nationally. And and then we'll be going at full speed. All right, guys, anything else? I know your time is valuable. It's getting late, especially for you guys on the East Coast, or on the Eastern time zone, I should say.
Just, Ben, one other question.
Yeah.
So for clarification for fall launch dates, what do you envision what's expected of the reps that's actually booking the Zoom calls?
Yeah, so this spring, and I want to just say thank you and take my hat off to those of you who have had launches this spring. We have asked an awful lot of you with from the Treasure Book Safe creation to delivery of the prizes and all that stuff. We're going to streamline all this logistically. So book safes will be handled centrally and sent directly to the school. This is the plan right now. And what we're building for. If anything changes, I'll let you know, but this is the intention. So we're looking to handle the book safes. You won't have to touch those. We're going to ship all the prizes directly to the school, so that you don't have to deal with that. And really all we're asking you to do here is get the presentation scheduled. If your schedule allows, we'd love it for you to be in the presentation. But we're looking to add account managers. And so, thus far, it's been sort of shared between whoever's selling the program and the CG rep. But you're not going to have to deal with that stuff going forward. All you'll really need to do is get the presentation. You can be as much a part of it as you want to, and as your schedule will allow. And then we're going to try to centralize and streamline all of the logistics so that that doesn't eat up your time. But, you know, I got to say, you know, Dwight and Shelby, Cynthia, Regina, you know, you guys have gone above and beyond in terms of just the logistical support you have provided. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's been awesome.
You're welcome. Now I've got to go,
Pleasure.
I got to go call a principal, try to beat this Eric guy that I just met.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, y'all. I think, Jim, Bob, anything else? Anything in the chats? Any of you guys? Any questions? Anything unclear? All right. That's a wrap.
All right,
Have a great night, guys.
Have a good night.
Everybody.
Have a great rest of the
See
week,
ya.
everybody.